I think it was like a series of many things that happened in my life. I was always sort of felt like I was on a spiritual path, but I had some material hopes and desires, and even like a material calling to do good work in the world. But I got to the point where I realized even the good work has a limit, because it's not just cleaning up the gross things. You got to clean up the subtle things. Just like with a car, you don't just want to wash the outside of the car. You got to make sure the engine's running good too. So externally, I was healthy. Externally, I was popular. Externally, I was I had some money. I could make money doing music. Externally, I even had a side job at a vegetarian restaurant. And externally, I reasonably good people in my life. But internally, I was troubled because the fame part of it, I couldn't handle how to deal with fame. Popularity, I couldn't handle how to deal with popularity. Wealth, or money, I couldn't handle. All these things are like energies. And unless you know how to hold onto that energy and use them where it makes you grow and makes you whole and makes you connected, then these energies can be useful. But if you don't know how to use them, those energies start to burn you out. And I'm sure you know people who've ruined their life, not just from being in a desperate situation, but some people ruin their life becoming successful. Some people ruin their life not because they can't get a girlfriend, but because girls are in love with them. Like some guys who are just like so gorgeous that they feel like they become almost sex addicts because of it. So people ruin their lives with good fortune, not just misery. And then, of course, when we do have a lot of good fortune, we start to realize, actually, no matter how fortunate I am, I'm not getting a pass on pain, but even devastating pain. So for me, I had good fortune, and I realized that the material good fortune, it wasn't what it's cracked up to be. And on the flip side, a stable figure in my life, my father, he had died. He went through a 3-year sickness and then died unexpectedly. So it was a little devastating to realize the material world can't protect you from death. And he wasn't that old. He was like 10 years older than me now. So I thought, the material world is not protecting my father. What makes me think I can't die like my father just died? And then I start to think, what do I actually want from the material world anyway? Like, what's the goal with all this? To become the super duper star, straight edge. And then what? And then everybody's straight edge. That would be a nice thing. Everybody's vegetarian. That's a nice thing. What if people are still greedy? What if people are still angry? What if people are still lusty? What if people are still, you know what I mean? There's so many things that you can be straight edge and still be a total asshole, still be a total narcissist, still be not using your critical thinking. So I started to think, like, before I even take another step, it was such a big thing, recently people were saying, silence means complicity. Remember that? Silence. You don't say anything that means you're being complicit.
Uh-huh.
And I always thought, really? What about thinking? What about just like you're thinking about stuff? A lot of big stuff has happened. Why don't we start thinking about, like, okay, why do these things happen? What's the best way to go about change? I don't think silence always means you're complicit. It means you're going deep and starting to think deeply about what is my best course of action. Just like if you come up the street and you just push me. So to do nothing, I'm not trying to be complicit. I just want to think, well, how should I react here? Should I hit him back? Should I tackle him? Should I call a cop? Should I run for my life?
Should I use my Gracie Jiu-Jitsu?
Should I give him a heel hook? So it's one of these things, like, we got to think about these things before we act. So I was at this point where, like, who do I want to become in this world? Who do I want to become? Like, where am I going? If I stay on this trajectory, where will I be? And do I want to be that? And I started realizing I don't want to be that. And I need to pause my life and my band and my friends and my family and just sort of make a cut. I'm not recommending you do that. Mm-hmm. But it's what I had to do. I had to do it.
When you moved to India, you were no AC when it was cold. I mean, when it was hot, no heat when it was cold. You had, if it was cold, you'd take cold showers. If it was hot, you take hot showers. There's no TV, nothing to purchase. How was that?
It was, you realize how comfortable and how we sort of like, what do you want, truth or comfort? I wrote that song, the old Shelter song, in the name of comfort. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes we'll compromise our entire integrity just to be a little comfortable. So it was good. It made you realize, do you want this? If you really want it, this is what you're going to have to do to get it. And it put me in a situation where my senses could not get satisfied. And therefore you become a little like, you strip away all like the pleasures of the material world. And that's what being a monk is. There's nothing else to take shelter in. So two things happen. You either become very miserable and sort of like hop the fence, so to speak, and I've seen that happen, or you start to figure out, okay, what is this ashram teaching for meditation techniques? How can I find an inner peace? I'm not getting it from shopping. Shopping was fun. I'm not getting it from Amazon. I'm not getting it from like, stuff in my face with whatever, or drinking or party or going out or going to restaurants. That's how we traditionally get fun. Once you take all those things away, how do I find happiness? And that's really an art of living, because if I could figure out how to be happy with nothing, I've sort of cracked the code of the safe of life.
But like the thing is what me personally, what I'm dealing with in a way is, I know there's a path out there to follow, the true path that sheds all this materialism, sheds all this like shallow, sense pleasures and all this stuff. But I live in a city, New York City, which I feel like is the most condensed area where all this stuff is just bombarding me everywhere I go, so
it's overwhelming, man.
Bro, it's a war, like every single day, like to deal with everything. Like it's a constant reminder. I'm like in constant like meditation, no matter where I am, to remind myself of stay on it, balance, stay on it, and it's a lot. And I just wanted to ask you honestly, like, what are your thoughts of like following the path while living in a city, in a major city, with all this going on?
That's a great question. You have to be very, very connected to good people.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's got too many options of illusion.
Yeah.
Too many options of illusion for illusion. And for a person on the spiritual path, there's nothing exciting about the city any longer. Big deal. It's all about your economic status or your ego status. So eventually people on a spiritual path, they get out of the city, or they find a community of people that are doing great work within a city. Because that's a great thing about, like, I just did a program on the rooftop of the Bhakti Center last Saturday. I wish you guys were there. I would have loved to meet you.
For sure.
But
next time.
it was,
huh?
Yeah, it was
next time for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, it was a great community of people. And because it was in the city, they got together really easy like that. And,
I seen that on your Instagram page. I believe you guys chanting and dancing and the music, and it looks really amazing.
It is amazing. It's totally amazing. Matter of fact, they have this great place on 25 First Avenue. They have an incredible community. Now, I don't have like a huge community out here because I live in the sticks, but and I got to travel to do stuff. Actually, we have a little village community, but in the city, it's like a massive community. Last time I was there in like February or something, this incredible kirtan, with incredible diverse people coming together in sincere focus and dedication to divinity. It was like beautiful to witness and be a part of. And I think like, this is why the city's useful, So it's extra hard unless you have that community. And community is there for us on a spiritual path to give us accountability, to help us step up. And so we can pull people up when we're feeling strong and people are feeling down. Part of my life is pulling people up. And then part of my life is reaching up to get pulled up because I'm feeling down. And so you're going to find yourself in a position. And that's what I see both of you guys. And I was like, this is what real friendship is actually. When it's based on something more subtle than this guy just makes me laugh. But he's making me laugh, but I'm degraded from it. There's degrading laughter. And then there's uplifting laughter and joyous laughter. So we want to surround ourselves with people that lift us up.
And it's almost like, I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's okay. I just keep talking, man.
No, it's okay. It's just because before I met Angel, for example, like I was in a position where I did have friends where, like you said, it was just degrading laughter, shallow conversation, just like not getting out, not knowing, but like it was always inside of me, just waiting to come out, you know, this like life and like genuine passion and like tears and everything. Just I want to feel like I'm existing. I don't want to just feel like
yeah.
You know, just having these stupid, and I would consider that friendship, you know, you consider that companions, you consider this, but I feel like as long as you like just try to stick with it, no matter what, it like manifests, you know, like people come out and they start joining your life that have a similar mindset, and it's very interesting looking back how these things just come together.
You start attracting different people into your life, and you know, witnessing you guys is actually very inspirational. And on this path that I'm on, a bhakti, a spiritual path, we don't say, okay, become like, you know, Mr. Spock from the Star Trek, where you have no emotions and you're free from emotions and desires and passions. Desires, passions, they're normal. And laughter is normal, and joy is normal and healthy, and dancing is normal and healthy. But it's the why behind it. So I love to laugh. You know, I find myself laughing all the time. But it's not at someone else's expense. It's not to degrade my own consciousness. I just made a certain choice, and I feel like you guys are like there doing it. I see myself in both of you guys. Is you just get to a certain point where like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do what you guys are doing anymore. I want more out of my life, you know? And some people, I'm at 54 years old right now. So some people I look back and they're on Facebook and they're the same kids I knew in high school. And they're still just like they were in high school, and they just never let go of that. So I think these are huge things, and sometimes it requires a massive departure of who I was. At least that's what I had to do. I had to make a massive departure of who I was, and to do like a restart, and almost to recreate myself. Mm-hmm. And I let go of everything to do it.